What if I told you Liverpool Football Club came within weeks of building one of the greatest stadiums in world football, and then lost it all? In 2008, the dream finally looked real. Construction crews arrived at Stanley Park. Bulldozers rolled onto the site. Fencing went up around the land. After decades of debate and delay, Liverpool's long-promised new stadium was finally happening. But 1 month later, the site was abandoned and the dream had collapsed. 17 years on, Liverpool is still paying the price. While their biggest rivals play in massive stadiums holding 80,000 fans, Liverpool remains stuck at just 61,000. The season ticket waiting list has been closed for over a decade. Thousands of supporters will never see their team play live, and millions in potential revenue are left on the table every single season. This isn't just about bricks and seats. It's about broken promises, wasted millions, and one catastrophic failure that permanently altered Liverpool's future. To understand why Liverpool is trapped at Anfield today, you need to understand the catastrophic failure that happened 2 decades ago. Liverpool FC has played at Anfield since 1892. That's 132 years at the same location. The stadium was actually built in 1884 for their cross-city rivals Everton, but after a rent dispute in 1891, Everton moved out and Liverpool FC was founded specifically to occupy the empty ground. From day one, Anfield has been woven into the club's DNA in ways few stadiums can match. By the early 2000s, though, Anfield was showing its age. The capacity had been reduced to just 45,000 after the Taylor Report forced all-seater conversions following the Hillsborough disaster. Liverpool's commercial rivals were building bigger, better stadiums, and the club knew they were being left behind financially. So in 2002, Liverpool CEO Rick Perry unveiled an ambitious solution, a brand new 55,000 capacity stadium to be built just 270 meters away in Stanley Park. The design was dubbed the Perry Bowl by fans, a fairly uninspiring concrete structure that lacked character, but it would at least provide more seats and modern facilities. Planning permission was granted in February 2003, with construction expected to finish in 3 years. But here's where things started falling apart. The project struggled from the beginning to secure financing. Nobody wanted to fund it. Then came Tom Hicks and George Gillett. In February 2007, these 2 American businessmen bought Liverpool FC and immediately promised to build something spectacular. They hired HKS, a Dallas-based architectural firm that had designed major NFL stadiums in America, and unveiled a futuristic redesign that looked like something from science fiction. The new Stanley Park design was genuinely impressive, a 60,000-seat stadium with the potential to expand to 73,000. The centerpiece was an enormous single-tier cop stand holding 18,500 fans, which would have been the largest single-tier stand in world football. George Gillett famously promised that the spade has to be in the ground within 60 days of their takeover. Supporters were ecstatic. Finally, after years of delays, Liverpool was getting the world-class stadium they deserved. Except none of it happened. The promises from Hicks and Gillett turned out to be complete lies. They'd bought Liverpool with borrowed money, not their own capital. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, they couldn't secure financing for the stadium. Costs ballooned from £300 million to nearly $500 million. Planning permission was granted in September 2008, and some site work actually began. But by October 2008, construction was suspended due to difficult economic conditions. The reality was catastrophic. Hicks and Gillett had loaded Liverpool with £237 million in debt to finance their takeover. They were fighting with each other, fighting with the fans, and the club was heading toward administration, basically bankruptcy. The stadium project was completely dead, and Liverpool FC was on the verge of financial collapse. By the time Fenway Sports Group rescued Liverpool in October 2010, the failed Stanley Park project had cost the club nearly £50 million in wasted planning, design fees, and site preparation with absolutely nothing to show for it. That money could have funded youth development, player transfers, or stadium improvements at Anfield. Instead, it was burned on a project that never came close to breaking ground. FSG faced an immediate decision: restart the Stanley Park project, or stay at Anfield. They chose Anfield, and that choice has defined Liverpool's limitations ever since. In April 2014, Liverpool signed a legal agreement with Liverpool City Council to redevelop Anfield and the surrounding area, worth £260 million total. The main stand expansion began in December 2014, requiring incredibly complex engineering as they demolished the old stand while simultaneously building a massive new structure behind it without disrupting matches. When it opened in September 2016, it cost £110 million, funded by an FSG loan that Liverpool is still repaying. The Anfield Road expansion followed after COVID delays, but in August 2023, the main contractor went bankrupt with the stand partially complete, forcing Liverpool to find replacements. The stand finally opened in February 2024 at a cost of approximately £100 million. And here's the brutal reality that locks Liverpool into Anfield forever. After spending over £200 million renovating the stadium, they cannot justify abandoning it. Building a new stadium today would cost well over £1 billion, while abandoning the massive investment already made. Liverpool is stuck at Anfield not because they love it, but because leaving would cost more than they can afford. But being trapped at Anfield creates an even bigger problem, one that's brutally physical and impossible to solve. Anfield isn't just old, it's trapped. The stadium sits in the middle of a dense residential neighborhood, completely surrounded by terraced houses. To the north, Walton Breck Road presses up against the stands. To the south, Anfield Road and more homes leave no empty land anywhere. Expanding the stadium would mean demolishing people's houses, a politically explosive and outrageously expensive task. Liverpool learned this the hard way in the early 2000s, when multiple Anfield expansion studies were quietly abandoned because they required large-scale residential demolition that Liverpool City Council would not support. Those early failures were a major reason the club turned toward building a new stadium instead. The main stand was completely rebuilt in 2016, creating a massive three-tier structure holding 20,500 fans. It stretches the full length of the pitch, rises 3 levels high, and includes extensive corporate hospitality and media facilities. It's already as large as it can reasonably get. Making it taller would require demolishing neighboring homes and breaking strict planning rules. Overshadowing residents is a non-starter, so further expansion here is effectively impossible. Then there's the Kop, Anfield's most famous stand and the heart of its atmosphere. This single-tier structure holds 12,850 fans and keeps them incredibly close to the pitch, creating the wall of sound that has terrified opposing teams for decades. But expanding the Kop is nearly impossible. Behind it sit occupied homes on Scaries Road. These aren't empty plots, they're families' homes, which makes buying them out controversial and costly. On top of that, English law protects natural light for neighboring properties, meaning any attempt to build taller or deeper would trigger legal battles that could kill the project entirely. Even structurally, Anfield is complicated. The corners connecting the Kop and main stand are held up by massive pillars. Filling in those corners would require completely restructuring both stands, an absurdly expensive task considering the main stand was rebuilt just a few years ago. So how far could Liverpool realistically go? Experts estimate that with another £200 to £300 million and years of planning, Anfield could reach 65,000 to 68,000 seats. Beyond that, expansion becomes almost impossible without completely demolishing the stadium and starting over, a cost and effort comparable to building a brand new stadium elsewhere. Unlike Tottenham, who built their stadium in a semi-industrial area with room to grow, or Manchester United, who at least have land options around Old Trafford despite some constraints, Liverpool has none of these advantages. Victorian terraces surround every side of Anfield, narrow streets limit access, and transport infrastructure is already stretched. Expanding further would require impact studies, proving that additional crowds wouldn't overwhelm roads and public transport, adding another layer of complexity. And here's the cruel irony. Liverpool is one of the biggest clubs in the world, with global fans clamoring for tickets. Yet geography and legal restrictions lock them into 61,000 seats. every match, thousands of fans are turned away, and millions in potential revenue are left on the table. Anfield's limitations aren't about ambition, they're about reality. The stadium has grown as far as it physically can, and those limits now create a far bigger problem, because in modern football, when seats stop growing, so does the money. Every match day at Anfield, thousands of fans are turned away. The season ticket waiting list has been closed since 2011, with those at the back facing an estimated 30-year wait. One supporter waited 27 years before finally getting his ticket in 2023. This isn't a problem Liverpool can fix. It's the permanent consequence of decisions made 2 decades ago. Liverpool generated over £100 million in matchday revenue last season, their highest ever. But modern stadiums operate as year-round revenue machines. Anfield was granted permission to host up to 12 concerts and major events annually, but reality is more limited. In June 2024, Liverpool hosted Taylor Swift for 3 nights and Pink for 2 shows, the first significant non-football use in years. The stadium sits surrounded by residential neighborhoods. Noise restrictions and the risk of damaging the playing surface mean Anfield can't become a year-round entertainment venue. There's no retractable roof, no movable pitch. Anfield was built in 1884 as a football ground, and despite every renovation, that's its limit. Meanwhile, their cross-city rivals Everton opened a brand new 52,888-seat stadium at Bramley Moor Dock in August 2024. The club that left Anfield in 1892 has now leapfrogged Liverpool with a modern venue designed for today's revenue demands. So, what can Liverpool actually do? Liverpool CEO Billy Hogan made the club's position clear in October 2024. There are no plans to expand Anfield further. The club will focus on maximizing what they have through incremental improvements within the existing 61,000-seat structure. This path accepts the capacity ceiling permanently, but it avoids financial chaos while preserving the stadium that's been Liverpool's home for over a century. The alternative would be one final expansion to push Anfield to perhaps 65,000 to 68,000 seats, requiring massive investment and years of planning battles. Spending hundreds of millions for maybe 7,000 additional seats would deliver questionable returns, but it would represent doing everything physically possible before accepting that Anfield can grow no further. Building a new stadium is financially impossible. A modern venue would cost over £1 billion while abandoning massive existing investment. FSG knows this. They chose Anfield in 2010, and that decision is permanent. Here's the brutal truth. Liverpool will likely remain at Anfield for the next 30 years or more. The club will keep making improvements, maximizing revenue where possible, and yes, watching some rivals operate in bigger stadiums. But here's what the numbers don't show. Anfield's atmosphere, history, and connection to the fans create something money can't buy. The cop still roars, European nights at Anfield still terrify opponents, and Liverpool still wins trophies, competing at the highest level despite the constraints. 20 years ago, Liverpool almost escaped this trap. The Stanley Park Stadium would have seated 73,000 with modern revenue streams. Instead, Hicks and Gillett's disaster cost Liverpool their chance to build new. FSG inherited that mess and chose to stay at Anfield, a decision that came with financial limitations but preserved something irreplaceable. But staying at Anfield means accepting certain realities. Liverpool remains one of the biggest clubs in the world, yet they can't expand beyond 61,000 seats. The waiting list stays closed. Revenue growth has limits. And while some rivals have moved into modern stadiums with higher capacities, Liverpool has chosen to keep the soul of what makes them special, even if it means leaving some money on the table. The Stanley Park disaster cost Liverpool their revenue ceiling, but it didn't cost them their identity. And in modern football, that might be worth something too. So here's the question. Should Liverpool have abandoned Anfield and built new, even if it meant losing 132 years of history? Or did they make the right choice staying at a stadium that makes Anfield nights legendary, even if it can never match the biggest stadiums financially? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more football stories.